I know the kitchen is very dirty, and you guys don't like me filming in here because it's dirty, but this is where I had the thought. So shut the fuck up. I've been thinking about this lately, a little bit more, is the concept of gratitude. And you all know, I look terrible today. You all know that I dislike this, estranged starving kids in Africa argument that people come up with. Where they say, hey, you right there, suffering. You shouldn't feel bad because other people have it worse. I think that shit's retarded. And it just because someone else is experiencing a worse problem doesn't mean you can't also have a totally valid problem yourself. But one thing that I think a lot of the starving kids in Africa people have right, or maybe they misarticulated, they don't put it quite the way that they should, is the idea of gratitude. Feeling grateful for what you have. Being happy that good things exist. For example, I just started reading through this. I've been reading through this Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. Good book. I enjoy it. I'm having fun reading it. I was listening to some Studio Ghibli piano music because it's nice. It doesn't really fit the vibe of the book because literally in the beginning of the book, like Hunter S. Thompson is there with his attorney, and they just have all of these drugs in the back of their car where they get like $300 and they're like, yeah, we're going to Las Vegas. And then they have this random kid who is just on the side of the street where he's like, oh, I've always wanted to be in a convertible, and they just bring him in the car. And like he's Hunter S. Thompson is just like insanely rambling to this guy before they let him out of the car. And at one point, he's not even sure if he verbalizes that he might have to kill this guy. And it's fantastic. It was such a hilarious way to open a book where, like, his attorney is just, he's all noided out while he's trying to drive the car, across the desert. And then Hunter S. Thompson doesn't even properly know what's going on as he's trying to do these things. Really great. It kind of, in a way, it sort of reminded me of when I was on DPH. But yeah, it was a really fun way to open up a book. And that's cool. It's cool that books exist. I love books. In fact, I have a whole bunch of them. In my closet, actually, what's propping up this camera right now are books. On my desk, I have books. I have books everywhere. I love to read. I haven't been reading nearly as much as I used to just because I've been so depressed. I mean, look at me, you can kind of tell. But that that's okay. I've been getting back into it. It's always going to be something that I appreciate, no matter what. Um, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, like video games. I was playing Ozu yesterday. I love Ozu. It's like one of the only games my computer can run because my computer's a potato. But there's lots of people who don't have computers, and I do. I have a computer, and I can play Ozu, and I like Ozu, and it's fun to play. And, just the fact that I live in America, I complain a lot about America as a country. We've got a laundry list of problems. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm an American or anything like that. But I've got it pretty good in comparison to even a lot of my European bros. Like, even a lot of those guys have major problems in their countries that we don't have, or just the ease of access of things. There are certain things you can do here that you just can't do over there that make life more enjoyable. So there's benefits to living here. Our welfare system's better than a lot of third world countries. A lot of times, people in my family, like, we'd be living on the street completely right now, if it weren't for the fact that, FDR, however many years ago, put a bunch of welfare stuff in place. I mean, that's a reality. Like, without food stamps, I wouldn't be eating anything right now. So there's a lot of things to be thankful for in this life. I could just list them all out. My dog. You want to see my dog over here? My dog, this is this is my best friend in the entire world. This is my dog. He's kind of shaky now, but he's okay. Yeah, this is my best friend, is my dog. I love that guy. I've had him for, I think, like 5 years now. I think it's been about 5 years at this point. Maybe four. No, it couldn't have been four. I've had him for about 5 years. Um, he's always been there, by my side. I sometimes when I'm having like a panic attack, like ooh, scary panic attack, anxiety. That's not fun. Um, and my dog will be right there, and he's nice, and I can hold him and pet him, and it feels nice, and it's nice having a pet. It helps you out. Um, there's a lot of things to have gratitude for, um, and I think sometimes counting the positive things in your own life is really good. I mean, I'm thankful for the people who are patroning. Is that literally, or just watching the ads, like literally yesterday, was yesterday the 21st? Let me check. No, actually, it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I got paid by Google AdSense, and I made $142, and all of that went to paying the rent for this month and some other bill. I don't remember what it was. I wouldn't have had that without Google AdSense. Without people watching the ads on my videos and the fact that I spam people with so many ads on my videos, I wouldn't have paid those bills. I get like $150 from Patreon every month. I pay bills with that as well. And just like recreational stuff that keeps me from going insane, like, buying one of those, thrift store books or whatever. Um, and so there's aspects of my basic livelihood that I would not be able to maintain without the fact that I have, really kind people on the internet who are willing to support me. That's amazing. That's great. Like, I there's so many things I have in this world. Like, I know, just looking at the comments, maybe even on this video, there's going to be someone who says at least something that's kind of nice. Now think of how many people don't have that. Now, how many people don't have someone who shows up and just says something that's kind of nice? Now, I've had a lot of problems with my family. I didn't have the best upbringing going on growing up. Now, there were a lot of things there. But I have an objectively better family than, most, well, maybe not most, than a lot of people do. Um, and I'm thankful for the positives that have come out of my family. I'm thankful for, like my aunt who's saved our skin many, many times. Very, very kind of her to do so. Um, you know, there's so many things to be thankful for that, it is what it is. Uh, Man, looking at this video reminds me that I have so many more books to read. But this is the other thing too, is that because of the during Christmas, because of the people on Discord who had sent me money as a gift, I was able to get one of these. Look at this. This is a Switch Lite. This is currently my favorite console of all time outside of like the PS2, basically. And I only have like 5 games for this thing. Um, and yet it's been able to climb its way all the way up there. From all of these like Titan game systems that I grew up with that I think are just amazing, the Switch has been able to become like number two up there. Um, Simply because of how easy it is to use and how many games there are on it that I know I'm going to enjoy regardless of whether or not I have them yet or not. Or like with take for example, all of the, not just all of the first party Nintendo games, but all of the games that were re-released from the PS3 and 360 era, all of the re-releases, physical re-releases of like Super Nintendo games that are remastered. You get the indie games that, because Nintendo has lowered the amount of copies you can make potentially to release a game. There's been like a couple thousand copies made of these random indie titles that have been put out, that are great indie games to have physical releases of. that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And it's on a portable system that you can, lay in the bed to play on. Um, and like most of what I've done for the last couple years, I want to say since 2016, barring a few breaks in between there of like real life stuff happening, for the majority of the last 4 years, basically all I've done is just lay in bed. And I don't regret that at all. I really enjoyed doing it. But there's a certain type of game I would be sort of forced into playing because I lay in bed so much. Is portable games, or stuff on the laptop. And the Switch ends up being able to bite that niche that I've desperately wanted of being able to play, stuff like first person shooters or open world games or, higher quality first party Nintendo stuff like Breath of the Wild, just from the comfort of my bed. I don't have to deal with this bullshit of my laptop messing up somehow, not working properly, and not being able to play most games. I just have the game in my hand right away. And it's so comfy. It's so comfy to be able to play, such advanced games on a portable system that feels good in your hands, and you could just lay in bed. And I love laying in bed. I made this video called "Brain Fog is Good," actually, where I tend to feel the most at peace when I'm just laying in bed all the time, and like listening to music and playing video games and stuff. Um, and maybe I just have a very relaxed personality, or it's a result of being depressed for so long that the most good I feel is when I'm completely sedated or something. But I just enjoy laying around. Like for me, it's cozy. It's cozy to just lay around and like watch anime or read a book and just be entertained with things. Um, and so I'm thankful for the fact that I'm able to do that. For one, I dropped out of high school when I was 15 years old, and I didn't have to go back until this year. But the one area where I've been really lucky is the fact that the school program I'm in has allowed me to stay at home for so long. I don't know when the jig is going to be up on that, when they're going to say, hey, you got to come back to school. But objectively, I've stayed home way longer than other people have, and that's allowed me to retain big aspects of my lifestyle as they stand. Um, and I have been deeply anxious and worried about the fact that I'm going to have to go back, potentially, before I'm old enough to just say fuck it and then leave entirely. Um, but those anxieties aside, and the anxieties aside from, thinking about how much work I haven't gotten done, I still am lucky enough to not have to show up for as long as I have, despite being registered, Like, the only reason I'm registered at all is because my dad needs money from the welfare office. Well, by the time I'm 18, he wouldn't be making any money off me anyway, so I could just choose to leave. Um, and I've got about well, no, 3 months. I got about 3 months waiting to drop out of school again, and then I'll be able to live the neat lifestyle I've been living for so long. I have the luxury of doing that. It's other people, they don't have the luxury of doing that. Um, and I mean, there's certain reasons why I kind of have to mentally, uh, sometimes physically, depending. But despite that, despite those things that make going into the real world much more difficult for me than other people, I dislike going into the real world in the first place. Not because of those discrepancies that I've mentioned, but because I just dislike it. And so, for me, being disabled in the realm of school, due to these, persistent psychological problems, not really an issue for me. Because I don't want to do it in the first place, I don't want to work. Um, and so, like, it, even though I have this immense immensely stressful psychological current backing me, um, it's okay, because at least I don't have to work. And that's really all I need. As long as you don't work, you can play video games or read books or make things like this, write. I like to write. I want to do more of that. I'm thankful for the fact that I can write. Um, I know a lot of people really liked the last piece that I did. Laundromats are cool. I really liked writing that. I'm glad other people enjoyed it. And I'm going to be writing something new soon. I love writing. It just feels good to do. In a way, I like writing more than I like making videos sometimes because it always feels very emotionally charged for me, very cathartic to get done. And I still consider YouTube like my number one hobby, and I sort of make the writing a part of the YouTube thing anyway, but in certain ways I actually like it more. Um, and in certain ways I like reading books more than like visual media. It's just good. It's just so much fun for me. I'm thankful for the fact that human beings who are as creative as they are have been able to make all of these things that make my life more fun and more easy and enjoyable. And I'm thankful to have people who I can share these things with, who want to listen, um, people who like to talk to me and listen to the things I have to say. Um, and I'm thankful for all of the things I've been given over the years by friends, family, etc. There's a long list, and if I made this video just listing all of the things I'm grateful for, then we would be here forever, and I'd probably start sounding like I'm bragging. But the point I'm making here is to look to the things that you have to be thankful for, even if there's not very many of them. Like, I had a lot of stuff that I like in this video. Some people, they're completely anhedonic, and they don't really have anything that they like. And that's really sad. And I don't know what to recommend to those people because it's such an individualized case by case thing. But you know, the reason I'm making this isn't to say, oh, look how great things are going for me, because in a lot of aspects they're not. But as a way of reminding myself, in the air of this good mood, that there are things to look forward to in some sense, or there are things to be grateful for that, as hard as it is for me to stay on this planet, as much as I dislike being on this planet, uh, there are things that make it a little bit easier. And perhaps we should stay around for those things.